Hey friends, I'm the Saxophone Oracle. This week we're going to talk about an exercise that we can do to work on voicing for saxophone. So for those of you who aren't familiar with voicing for saxophone, it's everything that happens internally in our throats, our oral cavities, etc., how we manipulate things to get the ideal saxophone sound, to put things in tune, to make everything sound great. You know, there's all kinds of slight adjustments. One of the very first videos I did when I started this channel was on voicing, so I encourage you to go check it out over here. And once you've seen that, maybe come back to this video. I got the idea for this week's video because I was in an online forum and someone had posted a little snippet of this technical passage they had to work on for their lesson that they were kind of stressing about. And when I saw it, I said, wow, that's actually a perfect exercise we can use for voicing. And I kind of wish I had seen that before I made my initial voicing video way back when, because voicing is really a difficult topic to explain. We can't really demonstrate it because it all happens internally. So we do our best to sort of describe the feeling, the sensation, how you manipulate things. But it was like a little passage of 3 beats. And I looked at it, I was like, man, that's perfect. It's something that we can all do, whether we're beginners or more advanced. And it's going to benefit us to do this little exercise in many ways. It's going to help us open up our sound. It's going to benefit our tuning. It's going to benefit our accuracy if we're trying to execute a passage similar to this one. So this is basically the passage. That's it. So it was a D to a C sharp to a D, and then down an octave for staccato note, back up like 3 times in a row. That's it. So it is kind of technically challenging, but the thing about it, in voicing the saxophone, we can play any given note, and just with our throats and embouchure to a certain extent, we can at least bend a pitch down by semitone without changing any kind of fingering. And we can also change the octave without changing anything. This whole exercise, everything I'm going to show you today, is going to be without the octave key. And when I commented on that post, I kind of also, we got into a little back and forth, but I was saying, you know, the octave key, I kind of feel like for beginner, you shouldn't have an octave key. And then once you're able to play the entire range of the saxophone, then, you know, as your reward for all your hard work, you get an octave key slapped onto your saxophone, right? Because we can quite literally play the entire range without the octave key and using our voicing, using our throat and oral cavity to get that upper octave. So all this exercise I'm going to show you today is going to take place without the octave key. So the passage starts on a D. So we'll play the middle D, but without the octave key. It goes to a C sharp, semitone below, back up to the D, and down an octave. So we're going to do all of this and we're going to slur. But let's start, I guess the first step to this exercise is let's start with just being able to do the octave and slurring it. Okay, so there's no octave key there. I'm just playing the middle D, using my throat to get the D, slurring down to the low D, and back up. So I'm using throat, a little bit of lip pressure, a little change in the oral cavity. But I think that's something we can all do, and we can do it on all the notes. So that was D, we can do E flat. E. So that's the first part, just being able to do that. So playing, you know, D, D, E flat, E, E, F, F. You get the idea. If we can do the octave, that's great. The next step is to work on just bending the D to the C sharp. So again, I'm going to play the low D. I'm going to use a low D fingering, so no octave key. I'm going to play the middle D, and then just with the throat, I'm going to bend the note down to the C sharp. You get the idea? So we're going to go from D to C sharp back to D. So far so good. Once we're comfortable with that, D to C sharp to D, then down the octave. We can do it really slowly. We should do it really slowly. So the entire thing is slurred, everything is executed just with the throat, the lips, the embouchure. That's it. There's no change in fingering at all. We're just fingering that one D. And then if you're getting comfortable with it, you can try and increase the tempo a bit. And then we could do this on all the notes. So I'll just go up by semitone. Right? So we're just playing the D fingering, then the E flat fingering, then the E, then the F, then the F sharp. You get the idea? So it's teaching us to control and use all of this, to manipulate all of this to get those 3 different pitches. And by working on an exercise like this, it's going to give you the flexibility. It's going to, if you pay attention to it, it's going to allow you to hone into, you know, the subtle movements, or in this case, not so subtle movements required to change each note like that. Because even when we're playing with our natural fingerings, with our octave key, etc., we have to make these slight subtle adjustments in the voicing. So this is a great little exercise we can use to work on voicing. The other one, I think I may have talked about it in my initial video about voicing, but it's just playing our scale, the upper octave without the octave key, okay? So this is a really good one, and this is what I was talking about, joking, you know, a beginner shouldn't have an octave key until they're able to do this, right? So I'll finger it starting on a low B flat, and we're gonna play all the way up. I'll go chromatically until we get to the high F and back down. And it's, again, this is another great exercise for voicing. And if you do it slowly, you pay attention to what's happening in here, how you're manipulating things, it's going to bring wonders to your tone, your intonation, your control. So all of that was fingering the lower octave, no octave key, and you can do it. And it's all by voicing. It's all by manipulating this here. And then, so when we do an exercise like this, I mentioned the benefit to the sound, intonation, and everything, but it's going to really help the accuracy when we're actually working on the technical passage. Right? Because we're going to have already focused in on the slight changes and subtle changes we're going to have to do here in order to accurately hit that passage at a fast tempo using the actual fingerings. I'm the Saxophone Oracle. That's what I wanted to talk about this week. I wanted to share that little exercise with you. It's so wonderful. It benefits us in so many ways. Thank you as always for continuing to watch. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe by sharing it if you like what you're seeing. It really helps this channel grow. It helps support new content. Of course, if you have questions or comments, leave them below. Send me an email. I'd love to address them in any future videos. Thank you as always for watching. I wish you a great week. Happy practicing. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.